NAMM 2012 news brought to you by Groove 3.
Yeah, hi, it's Russ from NAMM 2012. I'm still on the Avid stand, but I'm now here with Dan from Eventide. Now, Dan, I know you guys, I'm old enough to remember the hardware days of fantastic hardware, harmonizers and stuff like that. You were the harmonizer in the day of harmonizers. So you're porting a lot of stuff over these days. So already out there, you've got some great plugins which you guys have got onto Pro Tools. What sort of stuff are you doing? And let's talk about AAX as well.
Yeah.
So what's in the pipeline from you guys?
So what we're working on, we've just shipped the Reverb 2016 stereo room algorithm for AAX native, as well as the Omnipressor, which is the first of our Anthology 2 series of plugins that we're porting over from TDM. So those are great. They're running on AAX, everything's working well. And then on top of that, we're actually doing the black hole algorithm, which is something that comes from the H8000 harmonizer. And we're also probably going to continue porting over other of our Anthology 2 plugins.
What would you say to a user that's obviously been so used to either TDM or RTAS architecture, and now we have this brand new, why didn't we go VST, why didn't we go AU? What does AX mean for the user, and how can you put their mind at rest that they're not investing in something that's just a flash in the pan?
Well, I don't think that that's going to be a problem with AAX. Having looked at the SDK and doing some of the coding, it's a good architecture, it works pretty well, and I think it's definitely going to be a solid future thing. What happened, if I assume correctly, is that RTAS is a very old SDK and it worked well for what it was, but Avid wanted to move forward, and I think what they did will work well.
Okay, and I understand from talking to some of the other plugin developers that for stuff like you're making, that complex modeling and that AX sets it free in a sense with 64-bit architecture and 32-bit floating point. Does that sort of help you guys as you try and port all this stuff across?
It does. It's really interesting. You know, Eventide's a hardware company from way back, and we actually use 56K, those old Freescale DSPs, in a lot of our hardware. But moving over to 32-bit, this is the first time a lot of those algorithms have run on a 32-bit machine, and it's really exciting for us, and it sounds great.
I was going to say, this is the big question. We talk a lot about technology, we talk a lot about maths and physics and all of this, but let's talk about sound. How you feel about the sound of them?
Yeah, you know, we work really hard to make sure that it sounds right, you know. We do a lot of testing, both just mathematical null testing as well as a lot of listening tests between the plugins, if that's what we're coming from, or the original hardware, that is the H8000, to make sure that it works correctly. And, you know, some of it, a lot of it's art, but there's part of it which is just science, and just make sure it works right.
So a mixture of science and genius gets us there.
Well, they're your words, not mine.
Okay, thanks Dan, it's been great talking to you.
Thank you.
This is Russ from NAMM 2012 with Dan from Eventide.